Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. One more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. How's everybody doing? I trust everybody's doing fine. Welcome aboard, Bridge MCP, having FB issues for almost 2 weeks. Why are you having FB issues? We don't need the leader of the PDR posse to have any issues with FB. But anyway, I got some great news for you. You were shipped today. Your book was shipped today, Bridge MCP, the one that was given by El Señor Tom C. Anita Yates, send the bill to Trump, Giuliani, and the Flynn brothers. I accept. I agree. Thunderstorm just started for Michael Rudnin. Deb, Denny, welcome aboard. AVQ, Michael Rudnin is with it again. Large things for Egberto to read, but we're going to do it because we love what we all do here, folks. We love what we all do here. Okay, let's go ahead and get busy. Let's get busy right away. Purdue Pharma bankruptcy plan, which could give Sackler family immunity, moves forward. This outcome would prevent further civil lawsuits. Much of the Sackler family belong in prison for the sheer number of deaths they caused. If approved, the reorganization plan would make the family of the Sackler members of the Sackler family who have asserted they've acted legally and ethically immune from opioid lawsuits. In turn, under the plan, the Sackler family has agreed to pay $4.275 billion in personal money over 9 years toward the settlement of the opioid crisis. I want you guys to understand how capitalism works. That is how you offload. Remember, look, corporations are people. When I was a member of the Move to Amend board, one of the things that we were fighting for the 28th Amendment was to ensure that corporations are not people. They don't want corporation tax. They want to give corporations all the benefits of the world. But legally speaking, a corporation we call an artificial entity, an artificial human being, but it is a human being. So what did the Sackler family do? They offset all those bills onto this entity. So who's the guilty one? It is Purdue. You know, that entity called Purdue, that's the guilty one. And we walk away with all the money we've stolen from the people, including those that we've killed with our drugs. It's called capitalism. That is how it works. We isolate guilt. We isolate all the bad things done to people from the persons who run it. The executives generally get off free. All these folks get off free. Even the shareholders at times get screwed because we make the decision and then we blame it all on the company and all those who have received their bonuses, all that they've wanted out of the corporations, they go. Folks, you know, the sad thing, if Americans learned in school what a corporate structure really is, if they understood it is the abstraction of blame, if they understood all these things, you would understand that you have limit. We are going to get into some of this when we talk about Jan Psaki today in her interview. I love Jan Psaki, but Jan Psaki got tripped up on a question today. Well, we'll talk about that later. Let's continue with Michael Rudnin's things, okay? Let's deal a blow to Big Pharma. Our nation's prescription drug laws are out of control. While Big Pharma aims to prevent generic imports, its broken system of price gouging, the pharmaceutical industry, which so often touts the virtues of free trade, has used its political influence to embed the contradiction in our trade laws. Today, drug companies are permitted to manufacture drugs abroad and then import them for sale at inflated prices in the United States, all while those trade laws prohibit American customers, wholesalers, and pharmaceuticals from engaging the same cross-border importation that they do. Class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. I wrote this book quite a few years ago. It still holds true today. It still holds true today. What Michael Rudnin just pointed out there is so important. Drug companies develop drugs based on the intellect we pay for. When it seems like there is a viable drug, they pay for the rights to use that drug. Even though the government, our tax dollars paid for those drugs, you know what happens then? We have the right. It's written in law that if they decide that they want to gouge us or whatever, we can take that right back and have it manufactured ourselves. Our politicians never do that because they are paid off. But it is important for us to understand the reality here, my brothers and my sisters. You're paying for drugs many times over. And what Rudnin just pointed out there, where the people are going to, where they make the drugs overseas, import them, but we can't import them ourselves at a lower price that the other countries in the EU or the other countries in the EOC gets better pricing on. It's a racket. It is a racket, but we get all our advertising here that fools us. And we have Republicans in general fighting us for saving all of us, fighting us for protecting all of us, fighting us for saying, why do we allow a few to rip us off? Why? Republican National Committee threatens to boycott 2024 presidential debates if Donald Trump complaints aren't addressed. Republicans don't want debates because they don't want to talk about their platform. They don't have a platform. You remember what they did in 2016? There was no platform. That's news to me. I thought they cared about culture war, issues, obstructionism, trolling, and left and kissing Trump's ring. I'm sure they're not happy unless they're drinking Lift Our Tears or some nonsense like that. Republicans don't seem to care about kitchen table issues, for as I'm concerned, what Republicans are really doing is serving their corporate masters, as every single one of them is bought and corrupt. There's also the matter that most Republicans still follow Trump's every lead. Hey, Michael, how many things you going to have here, dude? Okay, let's see one other one. GOP balks at Biden's revised infrastructure plan. Republicans prefer obstructionism. We're going to talk about that, so I'm not going to read that. Biden can't quit infrastructure talks, and progressives are losing their minds. We'll talk about that as well. Cori Bush and Jamal Brown call for... I'll talk about that as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue bringing. Let me make sure to get all the people that are here. E2247 says, Egberto, Bahara with political historians Heather Cox Richardson, Joan Freeman on Podbay, no paywall. Great. By the way, we are now on Anchor.fm. Anchor.fm, you can find Politics Done Right on Anchor.fm as well as all the other regular podcast channels. America, Racism and Pattern of Change. Preet and Heather on Evolution of the Republican Party. Utility of Historical Parallels this time. Michael Rudnin says corporations won't act right until their CEO and other bad actors get to prison. Exactly right. Jessica Taylor, welcome aboard. Let's see who else is here. Egberto, you know what? We in the U.S. are the only country that allows former ads on TV. And you know, every time I see it, it feels obscene. It feels obscene. Why can't Biden do according to British MCP, why can't Biden do an executive order of some of those bills? Some he can't, some he cannot. To put it bluntly, most he cannot. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get busy. The first one that I want to show you guys is kind of cute. It's kind of cute. I call it the ouch moment because of how Michael Steele talked about his peeps. So let's listen to what Michael Steele had to say here, and then we'll get busy. We'll live it. Welcome aboard. Former Republican Party Chairman Michael Steele, did he step in it? We said something sort of interesting about all those Republican men that have become great old sycophants to Donald Trump. I mean, as it turns out, they are so scared to say anything negative about Donald Trump. We have a paper tiger, has no power, likely is going to be indicted, and seems to be out of his mind as he talks about, I am going to be back in power in August. I will be back in the White House in August. And there are some people that are believing it, but I mean, there's something behind the madness. This is how you start to create instability in a country, right? What is he trying to do? What he's really trying to do is to get those crazies on his side. And notice I said the crazies on his side. To think if that doesn't occur in August, then we really have something to talk about. If that doesn't occur in August, what do you think is going to happen? Anyhow, check out Michael Steele, and then we'll take it on the other side.
This was at a Republican event in New Hampshire.
President Trump and I have spoken many times since we left office. And I don't know if we'll ever see eye to eye on that day. But I will always be proud of what we accomplished for the American people over the last 4 years. And I will not allow Democrats or their allies in the media to use one tragic day to discredit the aspirations of millions of Americans.
Michael Steele, let's remember rioters chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," as he was whisked away by Secret Service. And there he is in New Hampshire, holding, which will hold the state's first presidential primary, underplaying what happened on January 6th. What's going on?
Well, it's what you expect. He doesn't want to get sideways with Trump again, as he did on January 6th. That led to Trump supporters calling for his head. I thought Brian Williams put it the best last night when he said,
Doesn't he
the
always?
vice president's just a boy standing in front of the voters of New Hampshire hoping they like him, right? It's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what we're looking at here. None of this should surprise anyone, from the reporters who cover the story to the voters out there who are witnessing this stuff unfold in front of them. This is going exactly as we know it will always go when it comes to Donald Trump. There is not a man among them, and I mean that literally, not a man among them who will stand up against this guy. And the only person who has been the woman who they then sacked her for her position on the Hill. So the vice president, looking at 2024, trying to hedge his opportunity here just in case Trump doesn't get in, doesn't want to be sideways with those voters, doesn't want to be sideways with Trump. So you're going to hear more and more of this, so surprise no one.
Yes, he went there. In effect, he called them you know what. They weren't men, but we have those women who are, and actually if you take a look at on TV, a lot of Republican women are standing up. A lot of us progressives are not particularly interested in the ideology a lot of these women have. But you know what? They're doing their job. But the men look like a whole bunch of sycophants. Look at this guy. Look at Mike Pence. I don't quite agree with Donald Trump. The man tried to kill you. He tried to assassinate you. And you still can't come up with the guts to say, you know what? I am going to challenge our people. Why is it that instead of appeasing these people, they don't challenge these people to the better good that is in us all? You know why? Remember something that we talk about a whole lot. The dissension. They need those people to be in that modal. Because absent that modal, these are people that start to think rationally. And rationally thinking Republicans are no longer Republicans. Most, that is. You heard that? Rationally thinking Republicans don't remain Republicans. Hey, I have something fun for you. Let me see if I can get it out here. Today while I was, let me back that out. Today I was packing up all the books and that sort of stuff, and I said, let me play with this stuff a little bit. So what I did is I did this little video. So let me go ahead and see if I can get it started for you and play just for fun. I felt like doing this, and I just learned about reel. Not learned. I didn't just learn about. I did my. I guess it's my first reel or something like that. I did. Let's see how it goes. Here it is. Jen Psaki doing the news conference and listening to our good friend Tom Hartman as I ship your books. Anyhow, folks, remember you can get our books at politicsdoneright.com/store, but you can also go to politicsdoneright.com/books where you get a list of all our books as well. So check it out. This is all taking care of business. Bye-bye. So what am I doing right now? I'm packing your books pre-show, watching Jen Psaki doing the news conference and listening to our good friend Tom Hartman. All right, I just want to do that teaser. I was out there messing around, and I said, you know what? Let me show these folks that I'm sending out their books. I have to do that before. I had to do that just before the show, since it's a weekend as well, and I wanted to make sure all of that went out. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get back to business. We got to get back to business. Okay, let me catch up and see if I have any things to answer. First, Lived It says, got my second vaccine, sore arm, no worries. My ISP is messing with me today. Having connection troubles, thunderstorms outside. Hey, Lived It alone, ISP. Leave him alone. We need him to be here fully watching our stuff. Egberto Willis, did you like that Matto clip I sent you? I did like the Matto clip, and you know what? Bridge, I didn't know that was a particular clip that you sent me because I had already watched that one. I think I actually watched that one live. And Michael and Egberto, what you know, we in the U.S. are the only country that, why can Biden do an okay, I think I read that one already. Are URLs blocked on YouTube? No, I don't think URLs should be blocked on YouTube. You can stick it into the thing. It should work just fine. Continuing, let's see if I missed anybody that I hadn't saluted yet. Para ver, nothing wrong. These people are so afraid of not getting reelected. Yeah, I know, but we need to turn that into they just won't get reelected. MCP, it appears, running the platform, see the decisions to cover certain aspects of a story. Or MCP says, Egberto, no wonder your eyes are red. Yeah, I put quite a few hours in, but that's the name of the game. A guy who watches two TVs at the same time, LOL. I've got to. You have to. I have to listen to, sometimes I'm watching three at a time because on the one on the left here, I can actually have two or three of them going at the same time. And you know, you have a story and you're trying to parse out and you hear keywords and it tells you, I got to grab that one. Okay, Courtney. Welcome aboard, Courtney. Let's see who else is here. Lived It says, gotcha, MCP. Tom C. Both of your books went out today. Both of your books went out today. Let's see, Courtney, the SLP. I don't know what that means for likes. All right. By the way, folks, if you are just joining us, remember, share right away. Please share the program right away. All right, let's continue. And by the way, the only reason it took me this long to send the books out is I got, believe it or not, other people have been receiving the heart. Welcome, Linda Jo Kessinger. Your book went out today as well. Check this out, guys. This is funny. Everybody's been getting the book. They've been getting the How to Make America Utopia, the paperback. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the darn book. So finally, I got my second shipment in, and I was able to go ahead and do these things. Greetings, everybody. Egberto, might I recommend watching YouTube videos in 1.25 speed, but only one at a time? I like that, Michael. That is pretty good. Okay, I have another video for you guys. This one here is Velchi, and I need you to understand this. This is going to tie into the video from, what's her name, from Jen Psaki. I want you to listen to this video, and then we'll tie it into the other video. Check it out.
Tomorrow, 4 states will drop out of the program that offers extra benefits to people who lost their jobs because of the pandemic. Over the next few weeks, a total of 25 states will stop delivering the extra $300 a week offered by the federal government, and more states could decide to follow suit. This comes as the government reported today that employers added 559,000 new jobs last month alone, and the unemployment rate fell to 5.8%.
Sorry
Tomorrow,
about that.
4 states will drop out of the program that offers extra benefits to people who lost their jobs because of the pandemic. Over the next few weeks, a total of 25 states will stop delivering the extra $300 a week offered by the federal government, and more states could decide to follow suit. This comes as the government reported today that employers added 559,000 new jobs last month alone, and the unemployment rate fell to 5.8%. Let's start with this cutoff of the enhanced unemployment benefits. How much of a role is that playing in what seems to be, by most people's estimates, a modest jobs recovery? And what could the cutoff mean for hiring down the line?
Well, so this is an interesting question, my friend. We'll know the end of this experiment by the end of July because everybody will have cut it out by then. But let's take a look at the map of the states that are cutting off the enhanced benefit. It's $300 a week, and if you earn that in addition to the $300 state benefit you're getting $600 a week, which, by the way, is exactly $15 an hour, right? Most service workers do not earn $15 an hour in this country. So the argument is that as long as these enhanced benefits are out there, folks are taking the benefits as opposed to working. We'll know more about how true that is, because if you look at the states that are cutting off the enhanced benefits and look at a calendar of it, you'll find that by July 19th or so, most of them will be done. So for the unemployment report that we get at the beginning of September, we'll know how it fared for August, and we'll know whether people are staying home or not for reasons other than the enhanced benefits. There's probably some truth to it, Eamon, because you can't get $15 an hour working at most bars and restaurants, but you can get $15 an hour if you have enhanced benefits. There are lots of complicated reasons why that's good or bad, but it may be having some effect on the fact that the unemployment, the job creation rate was not as big last month as it should be. One thing I always want to remind people, don't pay too much attention to the unemployment rate on a month-to-month basis because the denominator changes. So it's not that important that it's, 5.8% as opposed to something higher.
Okay, so let's pull out and look at a big picture here for a moment, because you had the May's jobs report. It was much better than April's report, but the U.S. still has 7.6 million fewer jobs than it did before the pandemic. That's the total number. What does this tell us about the overall state of the U.S. jobs market?
Increasing, going up in the right direction. So for most people out there watching, what do they care mostly about? That's the pattern of job losses over the last year. But let's take a look at average hourly earnings, right? That's the thing most people care about. If unemployment is low, your earnings generally go up. And we have seen over the course of the last year, average monthly earnings, hourly earnings actually going up. So this is a bit of a tug of war. Stephanie Rule was talking about this earlier today. It's a tug of war between employers and employees. Employees are hoping that employers will pay more money to get them to work.
Okay, it is important for us to understand what went on there. First of all, Velchi said, yeah, there's a possibility that paying people all that money to stay home makes sense for them to stay home. Let's hold that for a minute, because as it turns out, I always thought that paying people a certain amount would have them stay home. Otherwise, it'll raise it makes them stay home unless you have a raise in the rates. But we'll talk about that when we talk about Jen Psaki. What I want to talk about is having all these governors that decided they are going to take money away from their citizens, money that's already there for their citizens. So remember what this means. Your politician in your state, your Republican politician in your state, is telling a lot of people in that state that unless you go get a job, likely a job that's going to pay you less than what you are going to get from the relief fund, you are just going to get nothing, even though that money is already there. So I am willing to crater my economy with less cash flow because of an ideological belief that I want you off your butt to work, and I don't want to force employers to give you a living wage. It's important for we make that a story, right? In other words, there's a story. Okay, Republican governors are taking away the enhanced unemployment, and the story ends. Every single Democrat should be in front of a TV screen. Every single progressive right now should be in front of a TV screen and saying, they're taking your baby's money. They're taking your baby's food. They're taking your baby's wealth. They're taking this away from you. We should be out there talking about these guys are willfully taken away from the average working class to ensure that the capital class continues to keep their capital, as opposed to sharing their capital with those who have made the capital for them. And the reason I want to stop this right here, because what I'm going to do right now is then bring in Jen Psaki's press conference. Because the press conference by Jen Psaki answers a bunch. But let me check see if I need to say anything else to you guys first. Okay, here we go. I want you to listen to how Jen Psaki's been answering the questions. I think she is so good. She has been so good in answering questions. But in this particular question, whether Americans are staying home because of the enhanced unemployment, I think she blew it. And I love her. She is so smart. But we have a chain around our necks when it comes to describing anything that puts our capital, the masters of capital, at some angst. And we have to get over it. And Jen Psaki and Senor Biden has to get over it. AOC doesn't have that problem. Biden doesn't have that problem. Ilhan Omar doesn't have that problem. We have to get over that. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
There seems to be a bit of a shift in tone here, because last month the president was pretty adamant that he did not believe that these enhanced unemployment benefits were playing a role or factoring into people's decisions not to get back into the jobs market. Today, though, he's underscoring that these benefits are simply temporary, set to expire in 90 days. So which is it, yes or no, does the president believe that these unemployment benefits are playing a role here?
Well, I think we shouldn't lose sight of some basic facts here, which is that those governors who have made the decision, as they have every right to do, to pull back on the unemployment benefits, or not accept them, I should say accurately, that hasn't even taken effect in any state across the country. So in terms of how we're evaluating the impact, we haven't even seen the impact yet. That takes effect in June. It is important for people to understand factually that the president, no one from the administration has ever proposed making these permanent or doing it over the long term. And sometimes I think that was just an effort to make that clear in the public. So we understand there's politics at play here. That's okay. Every governor is going to make their own decision. At the end of the day, what we see as the biggest driving factor is vaccines and individuals being vaccinated, feeling safe to go back to workplaces, the fact that child care centers have rehired, that teachers have gone back to work. Those are all positive signs. And at the end of the day, the president and this administration has created more jobs than any president, any administration in modern American history. So that's kind of how we see the jobs.
But based on the data, do you believe that these benefits are having any kind of impact in people deciding not to maybe re-enter the job force right now?
Well, again, I think that's a really difficult thing to analyze, given we have created a historic number of jobs in the last 4 months, more than any president in modern American history. So, and the jobs, the UI benefits haven't even been pulled back in any state. So it's a question I'm sure we can have a discussion about in the next couple of months as we see what the impact is on different states, or if that's a factor. But we think the biggest factors overall are more people getting vaccinated, more people being comfortable and feeling safe going out into the workforce, and that's where we feel there's going to be an encouraging upward trend.
I'm trying to understand what happened in the last month, though, because last month you said you didn't see any indication of that when looking through the data.
I don't think we can evaluate the data that hasn't been applied in states across the country yet. And what we're really talking about from state to state is governors making a decision to pull back on accepting unemployment benefits for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. That's it. It hasn't even started yet. So I would leave it to all of you and your outside analysts to decide whether that is a big factor in terms of economy and data, or whether that is a political discussion we're having.
Okay, I love Jen, folks, but she had 3 opportunities to do the right thing, and instead she was a sort of defensive that I don't normally see her in. And the only reason I can think of that she's defensive is that they are scared that the Republicans are going to come and use it as, you see, Democratic giveaways cause people to stay home and hurt unemployment. Instead, you have to lean in to the message, lean in to the reality. I would go out and say, look, we don't have all the data in yet, but if it is that these people are making more money with a living wage than slave labor, then then those employers need to raise their rates. That is what Jen Psaki should be saying. Jen Psaki could use this to bring the entire working class into the fold. In other words, look, that's the wrong question. The question shouldn't be if they're making too much money to stay home. The question should be, why aren't employers paying enough to bring them into the fold? Supply and demand. Remember, that's what capitalism teaches. But she sounded defensive. Governors, it is their right to do that. No, you don't go ahead and give the governors cover by saying it's their right to do that. What you say is those governors are evil for taking food out of the mouths of a lot of children whose parents can't work. The Republicans would have known how to do this right away. They would have told it right away. And Jen Psaki has been doing this. What's wrong, Jen? You could have used that particular question to really dig in on one. Republicans who used the tax cut and nobody asked them, hey, this is supposed to be paid for and trickled down to the average working class. Where is the working class's cut? No, but the reporters didn't ask that. But they're asking about the middle class or the people staying home because they're making what is effectively $15, as earlier Ali Velshi said. Yeah, if you are a waiter, if you're a bartender, if you're these particular jobs and you're at home getting $600 a week and you're working on your feet every day, I will take that vacation until September too. Americans need a break. So she should have gone out and be a pro-working class press secretary and show that El Señor Biden is really working class. And if you really want those people out there, bring them into the fold. Increase the wages. Your people don't want us to increase the minimum wage. So by us giving them relief, if you want them to work now, give them what is going to be a working wage. Who is there to defend the working class? And if we as progressives, if we as those of us that call ourselves Democrats or on the left or whatever, if we allowed the working class, all the working class, to see that we are really on their side, it's not those people that give you those false arguments. In other words, think about this. Most people in West Virginia right now are poor. Okay? Think about that governor saying, I am taking that. I don't think West Virginia is one of the states, though. I don't think that's one of the states. But think about this. Think about you're in Mississippi or you're in Alabama. And you go ahead and say, I'm taking this money away from you. And then you have another party saying, I am going to make sure that you are taken care of. I mean, we're not trying to turn you into a couch potato. But if people want you to work, they will do what's necessary to get you to work. We have to have the picture. Now, I wrote earlier today. And, and this had to do with the American Jobs Plan. All right? This had to do with thank you so kindly. Lived gave us a great contribution. He gave us a great contribution. Thank you so kindly. 2 days in a row, Lived has supported the show. Folks, join Lived and be a great supporter of the show. But I need to say this because this is important. This is so important. Listen, people. Listen, Americans are fooled a lot. And many a times, there's a part of the establishment that allows that to go on. Earlier I wrote, the impending death of democracy. Let me put it on the screen there. I wrote that a few hours ago. I said, Republicans had no problems abolishing the filibuster to do something their base clamored for, taking the Supreme Court. In other words, they wanted the Supreme Court, they took it. Supposedly, We want the American Jobs Plan that's going to do so much for the middle class, that's going to take them out of the drag that they've been in for so long. We want to, and we can afford it, and we want that for the middle class. We want that for the poor. We want that for the working class. That's what we say we want. Those Democrats who refuse to abolish the undemocratic farce to pass poor and middle class centric policies prove the establishment that progressives always talk about is real. Because the establishment stays insular. It means they believe in the oligarchy. Hell, the filibuster is not even a part of the Constitution. So they created a constitutional maneuver so that the true majority cannot rule, assuming that those folks that form part of the establishment can continue to screw us all. Folks, Appalachia can understand this, but they have to know that people who believe this are there for them. You know, when I wrote the book, again, I keep talking about it's worth it, how to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. Why? Because as you can see, because of the filibuster, 50 plus 1 is not enough. We have to get our true allies. We have to get those people that really have things in common. You see my redneck brother in Appalachia, in West Virginia, in Alabama, in Mississippi. Those rednecks are my brothers and sisters. They just don't know it. They have allowed the tool to use them to think that I am the enemy, I am the other. We got to use our heads. We have to get around the facade. That is how we are going to make progress. We have to get around the facade that is nothing more than that, a facade. We can't allow that to reign. Man, let me tell you something. The reason why people are sticking to Trump, even though they know Trump is poison, I'm going to tell you. And people don't understand it, right? It's not about logic. It's not about any of that. It's about Trump talking to a few, others are unable to talk to. But you are. Our message will resonate if you get there, and if you get there, I mean, look. It is so damn difficult sometimes, brothers and sisters. It is so damn difficult to get folks to forget about the inconsequentials. You know, I like to use the example that I don't allow things that don't matter to matter. You know, and when I say that, you know who I am. You know what I stand for. I mean, there are people. People can use the, you have people that come on the show, or there are certain times I give speeches or whatever. Actually, I'm giving a speech at the Humanist Society. I'm their featured speaker. But anyhow, sometimes I give speeches, and every now and then, somebody don't like what you say, and they look at you and they, hey, N-word guy, and people expect you to go ahead and go crazy. Oh, why you do? I'm like, no. I'm not gonna fall for the crap. I'm not gonna fall for the what's been instituted, indoctrinated into us. That is how they win. So, Jen Psaki today missed an opportunity. And I wonder when it's gonna be that we are finally gonna no longer fear just being or just telling the truth. Just telling the truth. Okay, that's my rant for the day, I guess. Lived it, thank you so kindly for the contribution. I just placed you up on the screen. Let me go ahead and read some of the stuff that you guys are talking about, and then we'll go ahead and do our ask. Let's see, the Dems are weak. The Dems are not weak. The Dems spokespeople are generally, they're catering their words because they're scared. Nobody wants to lean in. That's why we have independent media. We kind of force folks to lean in, to see things for what it is. As for the reason some people choose unemployment over work, people are tired of being exploited for their labor, of course. Benij MCP says, yeah, she blew that one. Courtney says, right-wing ideals are controlling the narrative because we allow it to. But if you guys share our program and you guys talk about our program and you guys push our books, and I'm not only talking my stuff. I want you to push my stuff, okay? I do. And it's not my stuff, it's our stuff. I want you to push it. Yes, please do. But please also be sure to not fall into the irrelevancy of what generally occurs here, folks. So let's not do that. Let's really not do that. Okay, Robert Davenport. I hadn't seen that name before. Welcome to our posse, the PDR posse. You are so on target, Egberto. Can they not take control of the messaging and the subjects? Thank you, my dear brother Robert. Okay, Linda Jo Gessinger. Democrats try too hard not to rock the boat. Exactly, Linda Jo. Exactly. Para ver quién más está aquí. Left wing or also infrastructure investment. Yes. Putting the people to work in good paying jobs. Exactly. E247 Facebook to end rule exemptions for politicians. The Verge, NY Times, WAPO. And let's see what else here. Why are they conceding to terrorists? People have said their job administration. All right, people rock. Continuing down. Joe Manchin is a poster boy for the establishment, the oligarchy. Exactly. Sorry about the typo, guys, but I know you get me. Smoking a while. Yeah, let me. I wasn't able to read what you said at the time. It said COVID demonstrated that progressive economic ideas work. The stimulus-free test vaccines were called unworkable before the virus. AVQ, the chat is right. We need a 2-day general strike. We're going to work on that. I like that. I think AVQ has been pushing that for quite a while. We're going to work on that. Linda Jo, don't sweat the small stuff. Exactly. Don't sweat the pretty stuff and don't pat the sweaty. You guys are so funny. Evet Avery Herod, congrats on your speaking engagement. Thank you, Evet. Thank you. And E2247, testimony to U.S. Senate Committee on Rules, the history of the filibuster. Sarah A. Binder, the duck that quacks. Egberto, that's the question. Wearing my yellow PDR t-shirt today. Take a picture and send it to me right now, and I'll put it up. God, I want to see you in them t-shirts, man. Come on, put that thing on. Jessica says, the Democratic kitten gloves are ridiculous. Yes, Jessica, estás perfectamente correcta. Jessica Taylor also says they need to get boxing gloves and get rid of the kitten gloves. I agree. Egberto, I am in your call queue. Oh, thank you. Wow. Okay, let me get whoever is in the call queue. Come on in. Call queue, you are on. Caller,
hey,
talk to me.
What's going on, Purple?
Great.
How's it going? This is Lived It. So I'm hearing everything that you were saying, and I'm sure everybody, at least all of us, agree. I don't even see how so-called conservatives could disagree. I think, though, with the press conference today that you were speaking about and how she should have been a lot more, forceful for working people, I agree. I wonder if you don't see that's also the case in a lot of quote unquote, even though she wouldn't be considered liberal, she's a government official, even though she is. But in a lot of, regular media, like our media, MSNBC, CNN, they tend to pull back a lot instead of, have a full-throated support for working people.
I mean, you're right. I mean, look, but you know what? What is a great? I'm sorry, I didn't ask your name first of all. Your name?
I'm Julius, and you're on your platform here. It's Lived It.
Okay, Julius, thank you. Hey, Lived It. Let me tell you this, Julius. Here's the deal. You're absolutely right, but there's a reason why, and I accept the reason. If you are working for MSNBC, CBS, ABC, and I love MSNBC because, I use a lot of the clips. I love Ali Velci because Ali Velci always takes it to the limit. And also, there are a few of those women, they take it right above the limit, right to the limit. But if you are advertising all the drugs to make a living, the good salary that these guys get comes from the advertising, and you can't say certain things or else they'll just cut the advertising or cut the wire. So I genuinely understand why many of these reporters have to toe the line. However, Jen Psaki does not have to do it because she is the administration. She's not dependent on advertising. That is why I praise her so well for the way she has been doing. But for what occurred today, the great opportunity to really stand up for the working class, I think she missed. And I think you agree with that.
I absolutely do. But also, short time, and I listen to you, but life is crazy these days, so a lot of times I'm missing the show. I just want to say again, because I remember I was really trying to get, I was going back and forth with you on a good way to purchase your book, and we finally did it, an e-copy. And I've been going through that slowly but surely. And I just got to say again, I said it to you in a super chat a few days ago. Chapter 2 was really impressive, Egberto. It was really, I think, I'm not going to say that is the solution, but the thinking and I think the concept that you kind of craft out there, not even going so far as to say, yeah, we really need a third party. I think we do, but I'm just saying the way that coffee project is introduced to the reading audience, at least, I think it needs to be introduced to the broader political audience, because
let me tell
I think
you
there's
something.
too much stagnation.
Julius, I really appreciate that, and you are the ambassador. All of us have to be ambassadors. All of us have to be, and like you see, we have a lot of conservative listeners. We have a lot of listeners from all parts, because my contention is that many of us, just because of ideological reasons, don't realize that we're brothers and sisters in more ways than one. In other words, our interests are all and in the same, and that the difference in interest is generally manufactured. If we can preach that, we can. I mean, if everything that you see that we've done with the Coffee Party, and by the way, we've merged the Coffee Party with the Bridge Alliance. I'm going to be getting off the board of the Coffee Party. That's one thing down. And the Bridge Alliance is going to continue with it. I'll continue to be posting out there as well. But yeah, that organization was seminal in a lot of my thinking process, because when we got together with people from all over, that is when you could sit down and see how the thought process from everybody. And what you always found out is that even that person that you would want to hate, and I'm not using the hate as a vicious hate, but the person you wouldn't have want to like, it turns out that, oh my God, I actually like you. Why do you think like that? And any reasonable person, especially those of us mature age, we would all agree with that. Any full-grown person, late 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. However, even you would understand, Egberto. We just went through 4 years of an attempted fascistic overthrow of the United States, and we're still in it. Charlottesville was not something that an 18-year-old watched on a History Channel documentary. It was on a flat screen HD. Yes, sir.
So understanding, being reasonable with reasonable people is great. However, bending over backward, you have to understand that even those of us in the broad coalition who stand with our progressive brothers and sisters and follow the mindset of what you guys did in your projects, building a coalition, even those of us that are like that, true patriots that we are, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow to say, thumb your nose at those who are advocating every form of evil, from kids in cages to Nazism.
Brother, let me tell you something.
Understand?
That is why I love the audience, because there are times that we have to bat things off of each other. Sometimes you take one thing too far, something less far. That is what it's all about. And that is what coalition's all about. That's what community is all about. That is the kind of stuff I want to build. And I don't know if you have my book yet, How to Make America Utopia. The last part of that
I hear you talk about this. I didn't know about it until the past few days.
Yeah, the last part of the book, I have a link that's called politicsandright.com/PDR-Posse. I haven't yet finished the website to where we're going to have all the discussion and all of that, but I want us to talk about these kind of issues in the long run over the next few months when I put it all together. But we'll see.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Hey, brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate all that you contribute to Politics Done Right and other places, and we couldn't do it without all you great people, all right?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there with you, man. I apologize for the absences. I got a hectic, crazy life, but
hey, brother,
I try to support as many.
Brother, we are all in this together, and we can't be 100% all the times. That's the name of the game. That's the name.
Indeed, Egberto, apologies, man. I know you got a run here. I didn't know if I don't hear you speak foreign policy too much, even though I know you're well versed in it from just how you put it down. I just wanted to see if maybe you could, maybe another time or later on before you close, spit a few words on this thought I was talking to some people about. We have a vacuum in American policy. We're bottlenecked looking domestically because we're on fire. The house is on fire. However, for 4 years, what Trump did, just looking at the meeting in Finland when he didn't want any other U.S. officials around, and we're looking at the Biden's administration's moves right now, it appears there's a big vacuum in foreign policy.
Yes.
The world may indeed be on fire, and progressives, just to make this clear, I've seen it even when I was a kid in the 90s, our weak point for some reason is foreign policy. It's not because we intellectually don't understand it. It's not because we're not involved emotionally. We are. However, for some reason, it seems like progressives are intimidated to grab the reins of foreign policy. And I would move to say that the first small hand group of progressives who make national security abroad, we know it's here domestically. We've seen January 6th. But really start looking at what Trump and them did for the past 4. Focus on national security abroad, because the Republicans can't. They have no integrity as patriots. They don't want a January 6th. You know, we own the domestic issues. Seize the foreign policy issue right now.
I agree
just
with
wonder
you.
what you would think about that.
Julius, let me tell you this. You call in again earlier on so that we can actually ping pong on this, because you have something right there. And not only that, but we can actually use foreign policy to help us domestically, and we can talk about that another time. All right, brother?
Oh, yes, sir. Indeed. Take care, Pablo.
Thank you so kindly, my friend. All right, that was Julius Lived It. Julius Lived It. Hey, folks, I haven't done my thing yet. Hey, we got another one. Robert Davenport. Welcome to the PDR Posse. Folks, welcome Robert to the PDR Posse. I got to do it real quick and try. I want to get him up on screen before I do my ask, because it's more important to highlight folks that are saying, yeah, we want to be part of that. So, Julius, thank you for your super chat, Julius. And right now we're going to go ahead and get Robert Davenport into the queue as well. Robert Davenport into the queue as well. Hey, look, folks, if you, let me go ahead and put this on the screen first. Please go ahead and join if you're on YouTube right now, just click that join button. If you click that join button, you automatically become a part of the what again? The PDR Posse. You're supporting progressive media. You're supporting us getting the message out, just like so many of you right now have been doing. So please go ahead and become a part of the PDR Posse. If you don't see that join button, I'm going to put right now, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, and that's another way for you to support, get onto the PDR Posse. Now, we also have a Patreon, right? Patreon is another way for you to support us. We need about 1,000 patrons. We're only at like 1. We were at 134. I think we lost 6 in the last overhaul. So, people, their credit card go missing. Some people have some financial problems, etc. So consider becoming a Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Patreon. You can also support us via PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. And of course, you can shop at our store like many of you did over the last few days. politicsdoneright.com/store. politicsdoneright.com/store. And if you want to get our books, if you don't get it at our store, you can always get it at Amazon. Amazon have all the books in store, and that's the link, politicsdoneright.com/books. politicsdoneright.com/books. Robert P. Davenport, thank you for becoming our latest PDR Posse member. He says, sadly, MSNBC is a non-union station for their technical staff. Be very leery of so-called progressive outlets that have that same old workers or just cost items mentality of corporate capitalists. Look, Robert, you hear me talk about that all of the times. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. It's not, look, I told a story yesterday about something that happened at the radio station that I volunteer at. Politics Done Right is also at KPFT 90.1 FM Houston. There are some issues that we've gone through, and I kind of made some mention about that yesterday in a non-confrontational manner. Of course, I try to keep those things that way. But just saying you're a progressive is not enough. That's not enough. You have to live progressive values. I tell people all the time, people are like, okay, you're working 16 hours a day. Why don't you get some other help? I still have that fight. Progressives mean I want the same that I want for me for that person who's with me. Right? And I can't give that right now. Many of us fail to live up to the ideals we want others to live up to. It's not easy. It's not easy. But we try. It's not easy, but we try. We fail sometimes, but we try. We try. Anyhow, we're getting close to the end. The last subject I'm not going to be able to cover, but I have the link, or I'll put the link in the blog post. But it is time for us as progressives, as Democrats, to stop wasting our time trying to negotiate with Republicans on the American Jobs Plan. Because what Republicans are doing right now is negotiating everything downward. We are negotiating everything downward not to get a vote. And here's the deal. Negotiating downward is nothing but the opportunity, if and when they are re-elected to run Congress and the Senate again, to use that delta. In other words, what wasn't provided to the middle class and the poor can now be tax cuts to the wealthy. I wish people would understand that. They had no problem saying, we'll give the $1 trillion $2 trillion tax cut to the wealthy. They had no problem. They didn't even ask how it was going to be paid. I know you hear that ad nauseum. But when you hear Biden negotiating down to $1 trillion for the masses, but nobody negotiated down $2 trillion for the 2 or 3% that's going to get the massive amount of it, it tells you something. When Jen Psaki cannot say, those people that are home, good for them, time for them to take a break. Good that America is going to pay for these hard-working, low-wage workers to sit down for a change, make some money for a change, not worry for a change, get a break for a change. Is it so hard that a few people get a break, get over for a change? When we know that's what the wealthy gets over on everything. You know, they skim every penny that you've made. They've made a piece of that action. I wish, not I wish, it's no longer I wish. Folks, people, brothers and sisters, we're not going to wish on a damn thing. We are going to make it happen. One person at a time. One person at a time. Geometric progression says the following. You are one person. Every one of you listening to me right now, you are one person. You are one person. Okay? Número dos. Yes, Bridge, I have to take care of my eyes. I got to take care of my eyes. They're red as... But if you have some other advice, let me know what advice you have for my eyes. Now you're one person. One person. Okay? Now, if you can get close to 5 people to empower them, show them their worth, and encourage them, teach them how themselves to get 5 people. I want you to draw this on a line. Draw this on a page. The first line is you only. You're one person. The second line is 5. There are 6 people. The third line is now 25 plus 5 plus 1, 31. But check what happens next. If each of those 25 gets 5, we're talking 125 plus 25. And every level you go up, it goes up exponentially. We can reach the world if we do a little bit of work. If each of us say, I am responsible for 5 people, and teach those other 5 how to be responsible for 5 others. The changes that we can make. But you see, most of us don't know these types of mathematical concepts. Most of us don't realize it. But you know who does? You know who does? The plutocracy. And they keep it broken. But anyhow, I got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody that's here listening to my voice. I know you could be anywhere. I do know. I want to thank Robert Davenport. I want to lived it, Julius. I want to thank all of you that are present, that are members of the PDR posse, whether paid or not. I just want to thank you all for giving us this platform and being able to make a difference. You're making a difference. You really, really are. You know how I know? I get a lot of, lately I've gotten a lot of, Yvette just said, hey, congratulations on that speaking offer. I've gotten quite a few recently, and it's because of you, the platform, and people see the interaction, and they see that we talk with progressives. They see that we talk with conservatives. They see the cup that Bridge MCP designed and what it says on the cup. And they say, you know what? You are the kind of folk that we want to actually have talk to people. It's you. It's us. Got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this, baby. Oh, wait, I forgot to say beforehand. I'm going to try to do a couple of days. I'm going to be in D.C. And I'm going to try to do a couple of shows from D.C. I'm going to move my daughter from one apartment in the building to she's moving from, her roommate has graduated. She's had to delay her graduation by 6 months because of the stroke. So I have to move her to an efficiency apartment in the same building. So I'll be out there moving her and doing all that kind of a work. I'm going to try to do the show on Monday and Tuesday. If I miss the show, I'll leave a notice as far as why I couldn't do the show. But I want to thank you all for always being here. Could not possibly do this without you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willis. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.